Hello everyone, welcome to episode 2 of my monster creation series for the Cryptozoologist League and Wonderment Society. If you're interested in joining in on these weekly challenges, you can follow the links to the Claw's Discord in the description down below. Each week, we'll be building a new beast, so consider joining in on the fun. To recap, the Cryptozoologist League and Wonderment Society, also known as Claws, is a weekly art challenge where we create our own monsters using a set of 5 prompts. The whole idea is to pretend to be a monster researcher sent on a field assignment to investigate an unknown species. You're creating a sort of field journal of your experience, either by drawing your own design or writing a short story. I highly suggest checking out my DeviantArt group page to read some of the short stories members wrote for last week's assignment. They were pretty awesome. In this week's episode, I sent our monster researchers to the desert to investigate reports of a strange beast. This week's prompts were the desert biome, a wild card for the creature type, and the 3 extra traits were shell, horns, and bones. When creating your monster, there are a few important things to remember. First, your creature needs to be able to survive in its environment. Second, traits must be represented in the final work in some way, but don't always have to be in the drawing itself, meaning you can mention how the trait works in the final description of the character. And third, once you finish creating your monster, you need to do a short write-up of at least 3 facts about it. Remember, you're the one discovering this creature, you're the monster researcher, so tell us a little bit about what you find. So let's talk a little bit about the creature I created this week. This monster is called a Dune Ripper. It's heavily influenced by ancient arthropods. I've been watching a lot of prehistoric documentaries lately, so I wanted to try to create a giant insect that lives underground and burrows through the sand. The outer carapace is super durable and thick, and would be very hard to penetrate with a standard weapon. Maybe the underbelly might be a little softer, and I can see this creature rearing up out of the sand to snatch its prey to drag it back into its burrow. I also decided this guy didn't have just an outer hard shell, like an invertebrate, but it also had an internal skeleton of super dense bone, making it extremely heavy. This adds weight to it to help it plow through the sand when it's burrowing. It uses a lot of brute force. So this is a case of not showing the bones, but explaining the description about the internal structure. Maybe if I had more time on these, I could actually add in I do some sketching of the skeleton or something, but for now these drawings are done a lot faster than my usual finish work. I'm trying kind of a new style. The line art isn't super crisp, and I'm leaving it more sketchy and unfinished, at least for me. I'm also adding in a little bit of a background, and though it's super simple, it's something I usually don't do in pieces, so it's kind of been a fun experience to go outside of my comfort zone of just creating creatures. So going into the description a little more, the 6 large limbs also help it to dig through the ground, and probably can do some serious damage to food when it leaps out of its burrow to snatch things. Horns jutting out of the front of its face are actually modified mandibles. Those aid in digging, but they're also mostly used for goring prey and guiding food to the smaller mandibles underneath. I imagine this to be a rather large creature, eating absolutely anything that's unlucky enough to cross its path. It eats exclusively meat and will continue to feed on things even to the point of it being full, because it's in the desert. There's not a lot of opportunities to feed, so it's going to take advantage of anything that comes across its path. Because it lives mostly underground, it only comes above ground to snatch things to drag back into its burrow. No one really knows how long the creature is. There's estimates that it's between 15 and 20 feet, but it could be longer because the specimen's never been fully pulled out of a burrow. I think that's about it for the description on this guy. I'm just going to let a little music play here so you can finish watching the rest of the drawing. But stay tuned to the end where you can learn about next week's prompts, and I'm going to be showcasing a couple of the entries that we got for last week's ocean-based beast design. Alright, monster researchers. This week you'll be heading into the deep jungle to track down an elusive creature the locals say is an aquatic species. Has fins, is covered in fur, and has whiskers. The creature is a very important part of the local mythology. So to clarify, your prompts are Rainforest Biome, your creature type is Aquatic Creature, your extra traits are Whiskers, fur, and fins. Good luck! I look forward to seeing what you discover. And remember, Claus is not liable for bodily injury or death due to unusual monster encounters, so please do use caution when approaching new species. Join the monster research community on our Claus Discord server or DeviantArt group page, or use the hashtag ClausResearch on Instagram or Twitter. All links are in the description down below. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and if you haven't already. If you want to see sneak peeks of more monster art, consider becoming a patron. Thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see all of the creatures you create for next week. Until next time, guys, stay creative.